Heyo. Interesting aspect about my curveball. I guess it's not interesting, it's just personal preference. I've realized that when my curveball sucks, okay, my curveball really sucks, it's because I'm really loose with everything. Okay, I'm just kind of like, I'm passive with my finger grips, and I just go to throw it, and that's when, so when it sucks, it sails, you know, arm side elevated. When it's terrible is when I'm too aggressive with my fingers, being my thumb, my middle, and my index nail into the ball. I'm too aggressive with it, and that's when I throw it 30 feet and yank it. So there's a balance. Like with anything, it's finding the balance of not too loose and passive and not too tight and aggressive. Finding the balance, and I think I found it. Here we go, bangerangs. It's right there, that's it. That's it, right there. Here we go. I'm telling you, man, it feels so much cleaner coming out. I'm not forcing the issue, it's just, I feel it. It's almost like aggressive pressing in with my index into the nail. Tight, firm with my middle finger pulling that seam down, and then medium with my thumb around that seam. That's it. That's the one. Right there. Yeah. Almost feels like I'm presetting a hook in my glove, but I'm not. I'm just even. That's it. Corn dogs, Jackie. Shutterbach. Slider. I'm hooking the seam now with my thumb on my slider. Just playing around with it. Try to get my axis away from that cutter-ish 1145, 1150 slider. I feel like I went across my body there with my lead foot. What the heck's going on, Harry? Yeah. Ripping this. Okay. Split. Split. That's just gross. Ew. So this is what I'm playing around with right now with my splitter. So same grip, but like playing around with the thumb behind the ball or straight under the ball, to the side of the ball, to the side pressing a little bit aggressively, under pressing a little bit. Like you always like play around and tinker with things like this. And I found that with me, the split, it's almost like a forkball grip, you know? So it's pretty tight with my two fingers, index, middle, but then with my thumb, I'm like grazing it. Same with my ring finger, I'm like grazing it. And it's like tight but loose, if that makes sense. And that's when I get the see, that one kind of just stayed up and moved arm side, right? So that's probably because I just didn't feel the fork at the end, right? Like the finish with like the wrist. That's when I feel, or that's the feeling that I get when I make a good one, is like I feel like at release, I'm like forcing the action to go down and finish out front. Whereas like when I get passive and I kind of keep my wrist flat and get under it, that's when it doesn't get that depth, that late depth that I want. So that one felt middle finger dominant. So then the adjustment is to just feel them both even. Feel them both even, feel the baseball, the pressure against the fingers, pressure against the baseball with the fingers is evenly distributed, not like 70-30, you know, 70 to the middle finger and 30. That's when I'll get dominant with that middle finger. Split. And that's the same thing. That's the same effect of getting under it, which is tough, right, with the split, because you have nothing really behind the baseball. So that's why it's such a feel pitch. Split. There it is. That's the one. It's almost playing with the distance apart with my fingers, because wider apart kills more spin, which induces or has the opportunity to induce more movement. But like putting the fingers closer gives you a better feeling of out front and on top of the baseball. So that one was that. Play around with my fingers a little bit closer to that two seam. Again, so that induce more spin, but in the meantime, just create a little bit of feeling and then gradually work our way for more finger space. But that right there is pretty much unhittable. All right, heater biscuit and I'm good. Hey, PFP.